I chose to do my presentation on Chapter 3, Business Ethics, Social Forces, and the Law. What is business ethics? It is balancing the goal of profits with the values of individuals and society. The majority of business is the worth of someone's word, by agreeing to show up on time for work, to having a project done by a certain deadline. There are basically two laws for the standard of business ethics: positive law and natural law. Positive law is enacted by government authority and often contains the phrase "as is" in the contracts. By stating something as is means that the seller has no obligation after an item is sold. Natural law has a higher standard of behavior and is based off the basic human morals, in my opinion. In some countries, their laws are still based off of religious beliefs. There are many different theories about how ethical dilemmas should be handled. The first is Kant's categorical imperative. It's a very simple theory that the standard of ethics requires we avoid one-sided selfish benefits as a result of the issue. John Locke and John Rawls developed the theory of justice, which disagrees with Kant's. They did not believe we would all have the same view of good for society. They thought that we should develop an overall set of universal principles. The rights theory was created by Robert Nozick, which has two main points. The first is everyone has a set of rights, and the second is it's up to the government to protect those rights, which is basically what we have in modern day. The ethical egoism says that we need to accept the reason we do things is for self-interest and not to feel guilty about it. The utilitarian theory wants the most good for the most people, or in other words, by any means necessary. Why is business ethics important? Not only is it the right thing to do, but it improves trust, which leads to better relationships with current and future customers and investors, which will in time lead to the best type of marketing, word of mouth. It also has direct correlations with financial success and also correlations with financial failure. By making poor choices, it could force a business to pay millions and possibly go bankrupt. 98% of all Fortune 500 companies have a code of ethics to help their employees, and nearly 81% of those companies provide some form of training for their employees to recognize. There are 6 categories of ethical behavior. The first is integrity and truthfulness by doing what's right. The second is promise keeping. The third, loyalty. The fourth, fairness. The fifth, doing no harm. And the last, maintaining confidentiality. There are a few simple ways to resolve ethical dilemmas. The first is the Blanched and Peel 3-part test. It's a simple test by asking 3 questions. The first, is it legal? The second, is it balanced? And the third, how does it make me feel? The second resolution is the front page of the newspaper model. Warren Buffett was once quoted by describing it as, in any business act, how would you feel if your family and community saw what you did on the front page of the newspaper, and would you be okay with that? The Laura Nash model goes more in depth into the situation and asks a few more questions to take in the consideration of all sides of the outcome. In conclusion, business ethics is the application of values and standards to business conduct and decisions. They range from positive law to natural law to ethical theories and standards. These are important to the success of a business and also the surrounding community that it supplies with goods and service, but also with employment. The facts prove to us that businesses that do not follow the codes or rules do not have a very positive financial outlook for the future of that company. I chose this chapter because I felt like it was the foundation for this class, and everything we have covered basically branched off a point made in this chapter.